36 years of basketball knowledge and life skills. Your host, Coach Goins, focuses on today's topics on and off the court, helping players and coaches achieve their goals. So get ready for another fast break episode of Basketball More Than a Game with your host, Coach Goins.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fast break episode of Basketball More Than a Game. And I'm your host, Coach Goins. Say, Coach, where you at, man? I don't hear no balls bouncing, and you don't sound like you're in the studio. I'm not. I'm actually at Victory Worship Center. We're going to be talking a little bit about that here in a few seconds. But first of all, it's all about paying the bills. So we definitely want to recognize and certainly appreciate, again, Mr. Curtis Jackson, the Independent Broker Agent Benefits Coordinator out of North Carolina. We want to thank him for his continued support. So for your insurance needs in North Carolina and now also in Virginia, please contact Mr. Curtis Jackson at area code 919-614-5796. So what are you talking about today, Coach? Hey, listen, we're making history. You say you're making history? Yes, we are, because we have the first couple on the podcast, and that is none other than Miss Candace and Mr. Vincent Banks. They are the Directors of ACTSports here in Augusta County. Welcome to Basketball More Than a Game.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
All right, excellent. So, folks, you're like, Coach, I hear you always talk about ACTSports, but we have the gurus with us today, and we're going to be kind of getting into the thick of things and talking about how ACTSports started, the vision, and what they've done for this program to be such a success. So, but before we do that, I just want to make sure that we thank our subscribers. And again, Coach, what are you talking about? You can pick us up on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean.com, Facebook, and also SoundCloud. We want to thank our followers all across the United States, as well as our followers in Australia, Japan, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, Finland, and Germany. So we definitely thank you guys on the international market for tuning in. We appreciate your feedback and everything as it relates to basketball more than a game. So with that, let's go ahead and find out who Vincent and Candace Banks are and how this whole ACTSports is, alive and well, and people want to know what's going on that hill. And you say, what's on the hill? We'll let them tell you about it. So first thing I want to talk about is let's just have a conversation about who you guys are, okay? So, Coach, you want to start off? And when I say Coach, I'm talking to Coach Banks. Coach,
right.
you have the mic.
Yeah, my name is Vincent Banks. I'm originally from Tennessee. We're both from Tennessee, and Virginia was a new country for us, I guess, another opportunity to come out here. And I actually teach middle school, and that's what got me here to Virginia. But Candace and I, we were married married and had 2 kids before we actually moved to Virginia. And that was back in 2006, but I've been a part of Victory Worship Center for, back in probably 2008 or so is when we started coming here, 2008, 2009, and had opportunity to dream, had this dream or this idea of ACTSports, and we're actually on our way from Virginia to Tennessee for Thanksgiving. It's in November of 2010, and had an opportunity just sort of brainstorming because we homeschool our kids. Okay. That's something a little different than what's typical, I guess, for many families. But we just decided to homeschool our kids, and we wanted to provide an opportunity for them to have sports and have organized sports because, from what I understand, Virginia doesn't have that opportunity for kids who are homeschooled to play organized sports, at least not in the school system. So the first, idea was to give us an opportunity to have organized sports for our kids. But from that, the vision kind of grew of, we can impact kids, impact the lives of families, and more than just our kids, just our homeschool community, but to have the opportunity to impact kids on a different level, to invest in their lives, to impact the world, and have this ministry component that we brought in. So ACTSports was the birth out of that. And that was in November 2010. But from there, we had an opportunity with our church, Pastor Ray. I had an opportunity to speak with him about this idea of ACTSports, which at the time was advancing Christianity through sports. Mm-hmm. Later on, it became advancing Christ through sports. It kind of dropped the rest of the Christianity word and to make it a simpler word, a simpler logo. But I had a conversation with him for the opportunity to, I kind of checked out the idea of what kind of sports are in this area and what does it look like? Because he had kids that were still in recreational and travel leagues and things like that, mm-hmm. and want to get an opportunity to see what was in the area and how can what we're thinking, how can that impact people? What's the best direction to take? And it was at that point that I realized, this is like in February of 2011, that he said something about a vision that he had 25 or so years later of having a sports ministry at Victory Worship Center. And it was just amazing to us that opportunity came up, and those two things kind of aligned what we thought of an idea, because we never heard anything that he was saying.
Okay.
And then when we connected with him, it's kind of like we kind of pulled together, and we kind of, said, how can we work this out, and how can we move forward with this opportunity? Because we felt like it was a blessing, an opportunity to do some great things, and to come alongside with that.
You know what?
So,
That's awesome. And you know what? We're not going to let Coach steal all the thunder. Because, behind every great man, there's a great woman, and his wife is right here with us. And again, as we're setting records in history today, because this is our first couple on the podcast. So, Candace, if you don't mind sharing, I know Coach did a great job there, but let's just hear from the ladies' perspective, and what did that mean to you as he was, pouring from his heart there? I could see you were going back in time and walking from the beginning to where ACTSports is now. So if you don't mind sharing with our listeners, what does it mean to you, and how did it come to pass from your side?
Sure. Well, thanks again for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you and speak about ACTSports. Like he was saying, Vincent and I were actually high school sweethearts, and we were both very active in sports, so sports have always been a big role in our lives. I played basketball and volleyball growing up, and Vincent was track and a big football star in our small town right outside of Chattanooga and South Pittsburgh, when I recognize them. But we knew the impact that sports can have on a person, not just learning the fundamentals of game, but also being a life lesson along the way with those really good coaches that teach you life lessons and life skills. And so we definitely wanted, as homeschools, I'm a former educator, and Vincent being a current educator, wanted those opportunities for our kids as well, and other kids in the area. So like he was mentioning, a lot of our big decisions, because it's an 8-hour drive going home, come when we're in the car and the kids are occupied talking or playing a game in the back, of just brainstorming ideas. And it's just so awesome to see how God's hand has been on ACTSports, and what a recognition it is. A lot of times when we don't know his hand is on something, it's not until you look back and can see. Pastor Ray sharing the vision that he had and how they just coincided so well. When Pastor Ray was given that vision, I was reminiscent on this, I guess, last year. I was maybe 12 and hadn't even accepted Christ. So that was not even a part, but still God had a plan.
Okay.
And just to see how those two things, not by accident did we come here, and not by accident are we here at this time, but to see his vision fulfilled through ACTSports and just the impact it's making on the community has just been awesome.
And folks, for those of you that don't know, it's alive and well, and this couple definitely needs to be applauded for the time, their talent, and their effort, and again their vision. So basically, what I want people to walk away from, as I'm listening to Coach and Candace talk about this, is just think about stepping out on faith. Number two, also then coming together. None of us is as great as two people working together and then letting that vision take a hold and move forward. No, let's talk a little bit about this area that you guys grew up in. What was that? South Pittsburgh? Is that the name of that?
Yes. Yeah,
so so I'm going to go ahead and just call them out. Here they are from South Pittsburgh, and they not Steeler fans, but that's okay. That's all right. We have Cowboy fans and Steeler fans and Redskins fans on basketball more than the game, but no, that's kind of ironic for somebody to be from South Pittsburgh and not be a Steeler fan. But that's all right.
Without the H at the end.
Okay. All right.
Drop the H.
All right. So it's almost like Staunton for James. Right? So you guys left one place and came to another just to kind of fit in. So let's talk a little bit about that history and you guys in your sports. And I know Coach had a great high school career, and I think was maybe state player of the year or finalist, or tell us. Go ahead. Tell us what you got done on that gridiron.
That's a hard thing to do. I have a hard time speaking about myself, but yeah, South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the 1994 state championship team, where I was also the captain of the team, and I was what they call Mr. Football finalist in Tennessee. So I was in competition with other, we were in single A school, so I was one of the top players in single A. So it was a great opportunity. I went on after that to Cumberland University, and I played there for a season. Switched positions and went from linebacker, small as I am. I was playing linebacker and offensive guard. So I enjoyed both of those positions. But at Cumberland, I switched to cornerback, which is an adjustment because linebackers, you hit somebody every play. Cornerback, you're doing a lot of reading and you know a lot of running, and I missed the hitting part. I was a defensive guy. That was my main my passion in terms of the sport. But that's where I'm from, and I have a younger brother, Marcus, and we heard this thing of, well, Candace's mom came up here to Virginia not too long ago, and she started bringing up this Killer Bee stuff, which was a nickname for my brother and I, because we both play outside linebacker. And, and the last name's Banks.
Right.
Killer Bee was the thing, or Killer Bees is what was kind of coined to us, and so we tried our best to uphold that. So
standard. You were right or left?
I had a 4-3 defense, and I was Sam. He was Will. I had another friend of ours who was also in our grade, Michael Grider. He was Mike, middle linebacker. So we did a lot of stunts and things. But it was a fun time, and went on to Cumberland University. Played there as a cornerback, and just kind of got away from. I mean, it's one of those things that I came a point in my life where I really wanted to concentrate on my education, and going to Cumberland was a pretty expensive school at the time, and not a whole lot of financial aid. I didn't come from a family of millionaires, and you know I can get any school I want and that type of thing. I had a lot of financial aid stuff, so I had an opportunity to transfer to East Tennessee State, which is the Buccaneers, which is still a pirate, because we're Southwestbury Pirates. So I kind of kept the pirate kind of mentality, I guess. But I just went to school at East Tennessee State, and that's where I got my education and things.
All right.
But that's a small town. I mean, it's great to go back, get to see people, and a lot of people remember the great days of that 1994 team that won it all. That was the first time we won since 1969, so it was a 25 or so year difference of our first championship and the one that we had. And they've had several since then, but it was great times. Enjoyed the game. So that led into when we started ACTSports, what game were we going to have first? And flag football was it.
No. What made you do that?
Yeah, just the passion's there. But interesting enough, our colors are orange and black, and my high school colors are orange and black. So despite some rivalry teams down the road at Marion County, which we call Jasper sometimes, that's where Candace went to school, rival high school. But we went with orange and black. It was just...
All right, so I got to ask this question. So since you didn't go to the same school Coach went to, what on Friday night, were you in the bleachers at his school cheering, or were you? How did you track him on Friday night?
I did. We actually only lived 2 minutes apart from each other, but I went to the county school and he went to the city school. And to this day, big rivals. I mean, it used to be, I think, one of the largest rivals in the country as far as high school rivals, because it's extended from way back, and we're purple and white. And when he had home games, then I was there cheering for him, and then usually if they were away, then I was cheering for our team. So
interesting. 2 minutes away. How about that?
And two different divisions. I mean, we were single A school, and they bounced back from single A, I guess double A to triple A. But we would always meet the first Friday night in September, and it was a battle. I mean, the division didn't matter.
Okay, so
they have more players, bigger school. We had a smaller school, but it was a battle on that field.
So when y'all played, what side of the field did you sit on?
I cheered for the player, but I still cheered for
I didn't know if you stood at the end zone
for my team.
I'm kind of split the field in half.
Even though we come from a small area, football is huge in our area. Mm-hmm. So my school was very good. We won multiple championships while I was in high school. Okay. And then football has always been huge at South Pittsburgh as well. So it's always fun. It used to be the first or second game that they always collided, but it's always an entertaining and big event for the area.
And folks, and you wonder why we got them on the show. I mean, think about it, high school sweethearts, 2 minutes away from each other, and at the ball games cheering. So, and you see how it spills over. But what I want to capture here is, you have former athletes, you have educators, parents, but now coming to be able to to have sports and realize that, I think sports sometimes gets a bad knock. And when I say a bad knock, it's such a great environment to be able to teach. In my opinion, in order to be a great coach, you got to be a great teacher. And it's a transferable skill. So, Candace, I know we done heard from the killer bee over here to my right. Let's kind of go over there and drop you a basketball player. And how can this be a basketball show and we not talk about basketball? So let us know a little bit of your stats and what you enjoyed about the game of basketball.
What stats? No, I can't even compare to what he's done in his field. But basketball for me, I've just always enjoyed. I started in middle school.
Okay.
And actually started in high school and then started playing volleyball off season to keep me in shape for basketball, and ended up enjoying volleyball more than basketball. So continued with volleyball and stopped playing basketball.
All right. That's a technical difficulty. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just clowning.
But defense, I've always enjoyed defense more. Although I like to shoot, defense was always my big thing that I enjoyed doing more than anything.
All right, so I'm gonna put Coach on the spot. Did he come to your basketball game?
He did.
Watch out! He was there. Come in. Did he come in with was he by himself, or did he have a couple guys in with the Letterman jacket?
By himself.
Okay,
I remember.
I didn't know if it was the killer bees or just himself or the whole defensive team and him being the captain. I didn't know if he bought tickets before the game and was in the gym.
A few years ago, we had the opportunity to go back to one of the football games where our teams were playing against each other, and Vincent came in his South Pittsburgh hoodie, and I had my Marion County hoodie, and we have 3 children, a high schooler now, middle school, and an elementary, and of course, I think our oldest is trying to take sides and go to the South Pittsburgh side, but they thought that was so cool that we're dressed in total different.
And we did stand in the end zone.
We did.
Come on now. I get a little security background, so I figured there had to be a safe haven on this. So listen, we certainly appreciate you guys, allowing us to kind of peel that back and bring some of those good memories. But I want to turn our attention to part of the conversation on, with ACTSports. And I use the phrase competing, but it's multiple organizations in the county, and of course we're partial to ACTSports personally, and I know you guys are. But if you don't mind telling our listeners, just why should parents select ACTSports? Just why?
Well, one thing we try to do is to be different, be the same as far as providing sports. A variety of sports that children are used to in the area that other places might be providing, but being different as far as our emphasis. We are about the family, not just the player. That when we're teaching them, we also want to realize that it's a family that we're inspiring as well. Or as we try to just keep the family in mind as far as practice times and things of that nature, but being different as far as being in a positive atmosphere. One of the main things that we want to do is that we say ACTSports is having competitive sports, but in a positive atmosphere.
Okay.
We hear so many stories out there, and of course there are a lot of other good organizations as well out there, but we do hear stories where coaches have demeaned a player, or a child got ridiculed or something, or just didn't feel comfortable or respected out on the field or out in the gym. Mm-hmm. And we don't want a player to walk into where we are feeling any less than a valued person where we are. We want them to leave feeling, not only did I learn something from ACTSports as far as I learned more about the game, I'm more educated of this skill level, mm-hmm. I improved in this area, but that I improved as a person, that I'm not the same as I was when I walked onto that field or in that gym.
How about that? So folks, so you're hearing it from the lady side of the house. So now we're going to come over here and talk to a.k.a. Mr. Coach Banks, the killer bee from Pittsburgh by way of Tennessee. So no, Coach, just kind of, if you don't mind sharing that same line, why parents should enroll in that. Then also talk, put a little spin and talk about the coaches and how you kind of go about, recruiting for your sports.
I think one of the quality things that we do have is that we have, well, a lot of our coaches are volunteers, and you coach for us too, Coach. I mean, you've been a part of ACT Sports for a long time here, and but we would like to try to find good coaches, but a lot of the coaches do come from their parents. Some of the dads or the moms want to contribute, and we've had a lot of great successes with parents stepping in. But as far as the roles the kind of role that I like to play is to equip these coaches with some material, because sometimes we have some coaches who have never coached a sport. They just want to come out and volunteer their time, and that's great. So try to equip them with some things, some coaching strategies and things like that to help them to do well with their teams. So I think that's an impactful thing. And I think another thing that parents tend to walk away with is they compliment on how organized things are. Because that's the downfall for a lot of organizations is that...
You can say that again.
Being organized is a great thing. And we look at that as, I mean, it's a thing of adding quality. When people see that you're organized and things are going smooth, and nothing's perfect. It's never perfect. But to have things in such a way that people can participate and they walk away with knowing that, I knew when the practices were... People actually showed up for practices. The coaches actually showed up. I was notified when things were not going to go in terms of weather or practices or games are canceled. Those are some of the key things that sometimes I think other organizations don't do, which kind of leads to their somewhat of a downfall. At least that's what the parents have said. So when we try to recruit kids to participate, we try to be upfront in the information, so there's no hidden messages of what we're about, and we get the full information to people, so they know. I mean, we give them deadlines, we give them this and that, so they know what to expect, and I think that kind of helps to get people to look at us as a reputable organization and one that they might want to participate in.
I'm sorry.
But it's just that and the coaching. I mean, the coaching and the players and the opportunities that we have and have individuals that come in to invest in the lives of the kids. That just adds a little bit more quality that they might not get at another organization.
And that's great. So folks, hope you can kind of put those two things together, because think about what Candace called out earlier. Putting the emphasis on families. And then coach, he put the icing on the cake. There's nothing like pulling up at a practice, and practice is over with at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and it's 7 o'clock, and they're still going at it. As a matter of fact, I heard a parent talk about when they're picking their son up from high school practice, and it just runs over. I mean, it's about being efficient. It's about being timely. It's about respecting other people, and also it's a youth sports. I mean, you're not coaching to turn the kid over to play in South Pittsburgh or play for the Steelers or the Titans. But no, I mean, it is recreational sports, and a lot of times, people fail to miss that mark and don't understand. But in that's what I like being a part about ACT Sports, is the organization, the facility, and everything that we able to be in one place and have one heartbeat and be able to understand the message behind sports and also why we've created the brand that we've had. So this is going to wrap up our first section of the podcast today, which is entitled Fast Break. And you've been listening to Candace and Vincent Banks. They are the directors of ACT Sports, and we'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hello, Shenandoah Valley. This is NBA Hall of Famer Ralph Sampson bringing you a new, exciting radio show called Out of Bounds with myself and Lamont Goings.
Hey, Ralph, thank you for the opportunity to co-host such a great show in the Shenandoah Valley. You will be impacted.
Hey, we're excited to bring you this new show. You don't want to miss it. Coming in August.
That's on 1240 ESPN Radio, and we'll see you out of bounds.
Stay tuned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we certainly are so excited about as we get ready to launch this new program with Hall of Famer Ralph Sampson, who's been a great support and helped us out tremendously with ACT Sports. But, so again, stay tuned for more information on Out of Bounds with Ralph and myself. So, hey, we get ready to get down and dirty. When I say down and dirty, I got a football guy here, and I got a former basketball player who defected over to volleyball, but that's all right. She can understand this section, as we call it, in the paint. And what we talk about in the paint is just kind of layer it down a little bit more in reference to that. Before we do, again, we just want to make sure that you can catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean.com, Facebook, and also SoundCloud. So check us out, send us some feedback, leave a comment, and if you want to hear something, if we haven't talked about it in the 30 episodes that we've done, you need to hit me up and let me know. So with that, let's just go ahead and get down in this, and I'm going to hold this football player to the side. I'm going to talk basketball right off the point since we've got Candace here. So this section is called In the Paint. And what we want to do is talk about it is the state of the organization. Let's talk about I know you guys started off with football. I mean, okay, you started off with football, but since football has grown to other sports, if you don't mind telling our listening audience what's available through ACTSports.
Okay, well, first of all, just how much we've grown has been pretty amazing to watch. We started off with flag football in 2011, that was mentioned before, with 15 players. I don't know if we touched on that, but... So
15 players.
15 players, 2 teams, and we were coach, referee, parent liaison, communications director, anything you can imagine. That's what we were.
Can I get some water hitting the 50-yard line?
We were doing.
We gotta
it.
go get it ourselves.
And we're blessed with one other coach. I believe it was Chris Ruzal, I believe, at the time. But so we've gone from 15 players in 2011 to in 2016 we had over 400 participants.
Wow.
Right now we offer flag football, volleyball, soccer, track and field, travel. We have travel basketball. We had a travel baseball team for the first time this past year. Trying to think if I'm leaning. We have wrestling coming up in 2018. And
travel volleyball, did you have
travel volleyball? Did I mention that one? Travel volleyball and cross country is coming. We don't have that in effect yet, but that's our upcoming sport as well. Hopefully going to launch that in 2018.
Wow.
So quite a bit has...
From 15 to
15.
Multiple sports, great facility. And folks, here, let me toss this out. If you're interested, make sure you go to check them out at www.playactsports.com for your recreational sports needs. I'll throw that little plug in there.
Thank you.
Not a problem. And again, and then just folks, you just kind of get your head around that. You have a vision, you have a goal, and as I said, in the first session is. Part of that traveling back and forth. They started it in, 15, and now all of a sudden go from 15 to 400 to from flag football to touching all of these sports. To sit down every day and kind of process that. Sometimes you almost have to pinch yourself and go, man, it's been a great ride. So, all right, Coach. I mean, football, and you went from referee to the water guy, the first down marker, now to be able to kind of sit back. Tell us, did you see it happening this fast? Did you see it growing this fast?
Well, I didn't see it growing this fast. I mean, I knew there was going to be a slow start, and we were, looking back, I'm kind of glad that we had somewhat of a slow start because it gives you an opportunity. I mean, we had 15 players. The next year, I think we kind of doubled in around 30 or so players. But that gives you opportunity to see. You can make your adjustments as you go. I mean, I don't know what we would have done. I guess we still would have figured something out. That's what we've got to. That's just the way it is. But to come in and say we start out the first season, we have 100 people, 100 kids there, and we have no idea what we're doing. I don't know how effective we could have been in setting up what the brand's going to be and how the program should run to be more effective. Because every year, after every season, we always relook at or process and evaluate, okay, how can we make next season better? Because if we get, 25-30% more kids, what are we going to do? Right. And I think it's been an opportunity, and that's how some of the sports have kind of added on. But, after having flag football I think we had 3 seasons before we added basketball. We kind of knew how flag football and how that worked out and how things would work out. And then we kind of mirrored that in terms of kind of the practice days and things were kind of similar, so we had something to go on. But I can't imagine just starting fresh out of right out of the box with no idea, and you all of a sudden have all these kids. That would have been kind of a challenge, and I appreciate the slow start. But then once you started rolling, I mean, I guess we were kind of on the top of a hill, and now we're coasting down, and it's getting faster and faster. But this is still opportunities for us to grow and opportunities for us to again impact people. And for me, I think as someone, I mean, I don't coach every sport, and I have no desire to coach every sport. I think what my role is to help coaches, to help the program side of things, and be involved with recruiting good coaches and let the programs take care of themselves, and me being a part of just that whole planning part. But I enjoy working with the kids. I mean, I still know the kids that I coached my first season, because I coached 2 seasons in flag football, and after the second season, I had an opportunity to step back and be the creative position of director of flag football, while I have coaches, and I help the coaches out. And I mean, I enjoy working with the kids, and I see the progress that they have. And but it's a slow start, but things continue to, as we say around here, accelerate. Acceleration is something that's happening, and it's kind of gone over into our travel teams, and we're getting phone calls all the time of, can you have a travel team or a team for this group of kids? And we just have to kind of take those one by one and see if it's a good fit, and see if it's a good timing and space. Having space for that is too, and we're blessed with an opportunity to have good facilities and quality environment to do these type of things, especially with our gyms. Gyms with the S, it's a plural now, and multiple goals to be involved with that process with our indoor stuff, and of course our fields are growing too. So it's just a lot going on, but I feel like it's just the opportunity. I mean, I don't look at this as a job. I don't look at it as a burden. I just feel like this is what we've been given an opportunity to do, and I'm just glad that I'm a part of it. Right. Because it's not my plan. It's not my thing. I'm just glad to be a part of it. And the more that, if I can do something that's going to help somebody else and grab in some more people to be a part of this great thing that's going on, bring them on in. And it's just opportunity to impact.
You know what, folks, and you wonder why they're on the show. You need to figure it out. You want to look for a great place to plug your kid in for recreational youth sports. Again, www.playactsports.com. Registration is wide open right now for flag football.
Flag football ends August 18th, and volleyball ends August 15th. So they have 1 week left for volleyball.
That's called a deadline. So make sure, if you're interested, make sure you plug in.
Can you say that?
Deadline. So that's Coach Goins calling you out. So make sure you get on there and check them out. But you think about what they just said, and that's what it's about. It's not about Coach Banks coaching every team up and down every floor. Matter of fact, I had somebody guest from out of town the weekend, and they walked and said, "Man, y'all starting wrestling?" I said, "Somebody's starting. Somebody's doing wrestling. Don't look at me. I just walked by the mats." I mean, and that's the beauty of it. That's what a team is about. A team. It's not about one person doing because you couldn't be effective. We'd still be in flag football if it was just one person trying to do it all. So with all of that, and I know we talked about a little bit of sports. We talked a little bit about what you guys did back in when you were 2 miles apart and hanging out at the 50-yard line and wearing these school colors. And now that you all are parents and you got kids in high school. Wow, you going to high school? Almost drive me. Give me the keys. He'll be giving me the keys in a little bit. But in that, I want to talk a little bit about work-life balance. And I always ask, basically, that's probably one of my main parts of the conversation I like to talk about, because I want to be able to tap into all of our guests and be able to say what makes them successful with that. Because as you said, you don't look at it as a job, but it's time. It's time away from other parts. So I'm going to kind of toss this back over here to my basketball friend first and give her first dibs on that. So, Candace, how do you balance work, the ACT Sports family, church, and everything that you do?
Well, for one, we're partners, and we look at this as a team effort. Not just Vincent and myself, but our kids. A lot of times, with our multiple meetings that we may have to attend, you'll hear our kids in the gym playing, because where one of us goes, we tend to all go. And I think that helps, too, that you don't separate yourself and make it about, okay, this is what mama has to do, or this is what daddy has to do, but this is what we have to do together. And you might see them out there helping as far as loading up the equipment or taking some equipment there. But that's a big thing, is that we do things together. Also, Vincent told me a while back that just because you can do or you think you can do everything doesn't mean you need to do everything.
Can you repeat that again?
Just because you think you can do everything doesn't mean you need to do everything. And priorities are a big part. Just because you can do something well doesn't mean that that's what you need to be doing. Mm-hmm. And stretching yourself thin just makes you mediocre in a lot of different things. So it's good to focus on what you can do, what you can do well, what God wants you to do, and put all your energy into achieving those goals and let other things go. So saying no is a beautiful 2-letter word.
Amen. I didn't know if that's when I need to start and take up an offering, because there's only 3 of us. But in that, and again, folks, and you wonder why they're on the show. And again, hopefully it's very self-evident as they keep laying it down, precept after precept, what creates the balance, why they've been successful. Again, successful in their occupation. And in that, Coach Banks says, I don't want to leave this off the table. He's also been Teacher of the Year. So I did my homework for you. You came through the door. But in that, I mean, and the reason why I call that out, it just shows you it's not just about sports. It's about the balance. And so that's why you need to plug your kid in. If you don't know, if you know somebody, you better tell them to dial it in and play ACTSports.com. So, Coach, I want to kind of toss that over to you a little bit about that. And I know the first day back at school was the day. So again, that's another pot on the stove with the water boiling. So talk a little bit about your work, your work-life balance and how you get it done.
Okay, well, I do my best in everything that I try or try to accomplish, and it is a balance, and it's kind of difficult. I think, like as Candace was saying, I think we conquer these things as a team. We're Banks 5. That's what we call ourselves. It's on our license plate. But we're the Banks 5 team, but at the same time, I think it's important that we as parents of kids who are qualified for sports and can play we can play every season if we wanted to, in terms of they all qualified, and we can be in the sport every single season. But we try not to do that. I mean, we try to fit a situation where there's a season where we're not playing, our kids are not actually playing the sport. And that gives us opportunity to kind of do family things and to kind of reconnect as a family, and to actually go and just go to a game just to watch, because we're not overseeing it. We got coaches, we got all that's taken care of. We can just go watch and enjoy the game. I know we took a basketball season off this past year. I don't know that we'll do it this year, but it was nice to be able to come in and just and touch base with the coaches and Coach Goins. He was involved with that, and appreciate your service on that again as a director of basketball. But to be able to just come in and watch a game and don't have to, there's no responsibility of us staying around. I mean, sometimes we do help out here and there to clean up whatever, but it's not like we have to. And I think being able to do that and have somewhat of a disconnect to reconnect as a family is something that is valuable for us. Now, it doesn't work for everybody. I think I learned from other relationships and knowing other people and their families. Sometimes going to sports, that's their family time,
right? And
that's their dedication. And without being there at a sporting event with their kids, that's kind of taking away what they feel is important as a family, and that's okay too.
Right.
Now, for us, it's not that way. I think having that disconnect is great for us, but we definitely approach it as a team and do our best to do that. And of course, school year, today was the starting day of this school year, and fortunately we didn't have our football stuff doesn't start, flag football doesn't start for another couple of weeks, and so that gives me an opportunity to get adjusted and try to figure out, because I'm a person of routine and plans and things like that, and if I can get the machine working right in the right direction, then I think things flow well, with minor error here and there. So it's a matter of getting that mental focus and figuring out how to balance everything. So it's a balance. It's not easy all the time. We'll get there.
But you're right. And so hopefully the folks will be dialing this in and kind of getting a little different perspective today, because it's just not a lady on the show, and it's just not a guy on the show. It's a husband and wife. So you can take away and be able to say, and as we always say, you steal shamelessly. If try it and see if it works, and if it doesn't, there's nothing wrong with it. So again, we certainly appreciate you all, dialing this in reference to the entire balance piece. So with that, I kind of want to talk a little bit about the vision of ACT Sports. It's 2017. Where do you see ACT Sports? Let's see. All right. Let's see. Their youngest son is in what grade?
4th.
He's in the 4th. So where do you see, I'm going to go out there, where do you see ACT Sports when he's a senior in high school?
That's a good question. Well, for one thing, the vision of ACT Sports is to embody the whole player. So it's not just the athletic side, it's the body, soul, spirit of the player, especially with advancing Christ through sports. And one of the things I didn't mention before when we were talking about our numbers, although we are ecstatic about the way we've grown as far as from 15 to 400 last year, the number that pleases us the most is that we've had almost 160 players accept Christ.
Wow.
Through this. We do, which sets us aside, I believe, than your typical recreational sport. We put an emphasis, we don't preach at them. We teach them through the recreational games and just tell them, basically, we talk about the player as far as integrity and things of that sort, teamwork and things of that, but relate it to what the Bible says.
Yes.
And so it's never a preached at type of environment, but at the end of all our seasons, we give them an opportunity to accept Christ if they want to. And we've had 159 so far, which I think is just outstanding. So one of the things for our vision is to see, of course, our numbers grow as far as participants, but also as far as those who have made those decisions for Christ. We're wanting to be, at our rate that we're going now, it seems like here lately we're adding a sport per year. So we have multiple sports, of course, we want to add. We want to see multiple travel teams added, and not only be confined to Augusta County, but to be outstretched. We want to be in different places across the country, out of the country, but because the way we look at it is the more the places we are, the more kids we're impacting.
How about that? That's the bare fact. So, all right, Mr. Football, this guy, I tell you what, and folks, you wonder, it's like, well, what causes ACT Sports to really, you push on that flywheel and it's taking off, and the sports have been increased, and I'm sure they're going to be dropping in the decathlon pretty soon, and tightening up for that. But no, Coach, if you don't mind, just share where you see, where do you see ACT? Where's ACT Sports in 10 years?
10 years. I think it's nationwide. I mean, we'll be on some national coverage on maybe some I don't know, TV commercials, something like that, where it's going to be a household name. ACT Sports is not just a organization that people know about locally. That that when say that there's a new organization that starts up, and people look at that new organization like, oh, do they kind of do stuff like ACT Sports? We want to have that brand of the new stuff is compared to what we are, because we've been here in terms of that. Even though we haven't been here that long, I would like to see that being a brand that's national, international, and more opportunity to reach people. And I like to see, opportunity to have, these big name tournaments / camps / whatever, where people recognize the name, because we can go rent out a university or something and be able to have a big sports camp, and people come because they know the quality they're getting, because the name is there, the brand is there, and be able to have those satellite places around the country different times of the year, and to be that one organization, or that organization that is impactful. I'm fortunate enough, and one of the other things that after looking at all this stuff, I was like, okay, that's a lot of stuff that we do, but I have opportunity to work with FCA, and that's a national organization. I'm considering myself a huddle coach. That's my title at my middle school.
Okay.
But to be able to have that type of recognition, because a lot of people know what FCA is. It's a national, international not to compare us to FCA, but I can see ACT Sports being in that same type of of level where people know and see the quality and they're willing to buy into that, and the results will be good. And so 10 years from now, I imagine the same sports that we have would be still around, because I hate for sports to kind of fade away, because sometimes people have a really good thing going for a while and then it fades off and then they never recover from that. But I like to see sports continuing to grow, and you know, we can still add more sports. At some point, you run out of sports, though, right? At some point.
Let me say horseshoes or badminton.
But to continue to add stuff, but at the rate that we can be effective and continue to maintain quality. I would never want to go to the point where we have so many things going on and the quality begins to fade. But I think with how we set things up and how I think the structure of what we're setting up, we have an opportunity to continue to grow and be effective. So the growth and being effective while growing is the one that I think is something that has to happen in order to continue to have the impact that we're having. Because growth is possible, growth will happen. We just got to be in the realization of what can we do, what we're going to do with that, and how we're going to keep that maintained. So, and
we've been thankful to have Ralph Sampson and you, Coach Goins, represent us at the BTIG Charity Day for the last 2 years in New York. Things like that, of course, get our name out there and help in the growth. So we're very appreciative of him coming aboard and you opening doors and things of that sort too.
It's our pleasure. It's not every day that you can go hang out with a room full of people that Candace is talking about. But again, I mean, it's just iron and sharpening iron. You know, and great comments there in reference to the vision, and just like Coach said, it's not you have the growth, but then also the sustainability.
That's the word.
Of that growth, because when you get down in there, you start looking at badminton and horseshoes, and of course I'm clowning here, but but it's important as the sports continue to grow. You don't want one to really fade out just because the numbers aren't there. So we're going to start wrapping this thing up, but I can't thank you all enough. And again, you've been listening to Candace and Vincent Banks. They are the directors of ACTSports, and that is 200 Hammond Lane. And again, that is www.playactsports.com. If you don't know, and if you're looking for a great recreational, and again, when I say sports, but it's so much more than that. Come out here. Here's the challenge from Coach. Come out and tour the facility, see what we've got offered. If you're hungry, we have concession stands doing the sporting events. But come out. So at this time, I'm just going to kind of toss it back over to my basketball buddy. And you know what? I'm sorry. We're gonna let the ladies finish last. Usually said ladies go first, but we're gonna it's basketball show, and we're gonna get this football guy out of the way. No, I'm just clowning. But in that, Coach, if you don't mind, just give us your closing comments.
Well, again, I appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak about ACT Sports. It's a passion that we have, and anybody who's out there listening, look us up. I mean, Coach Goins mentioned the website there, and we're all about reaching people. It's all about impacting lives, and sports is the great way to get to people, and we don't know. We also have travel. We didn't mention much about the travel, but we had a lot of successful travel teams that have developed and gone. Had the national team to play in the national AAU tournament. So we have multiple opportunities for people to be involved. It's just a matter of where do they want to plug in, and our goal is to provide quality coaching, quality condition, and quality impact, personal impact on individuals, whether it's recreational or travel. So opportunity, it's a great opportunity. I'm just glad to be a part of it. And that's pretty much all that I want to share. So.
All right. Ms. Candace, if you want to give us your closing comments.
Well, thank you again. And just for the parents that are out there listening who are looking for a place where their children can grow and be better athletes and be better people, we hope that we offer that service for you. One of the things that we also offer that set us aside is our SOAR program, which is success obtained by accepting responsibility. We offered free homework assistance for all our athletes and free workshops. So we're more than just trying to reach the athletes' physical abilities. We want to help them to get to the next level educationally, be better people, and just to grow. Hopefully, 10 years down the road, as you were mentioning, that we'll also have people come back who say that I'm different because I was a part of the ACTSports program.
You know, that's some powerful stuff. And listen, I can't thank you all enough for taking time out and slide out and getting our subscribers and our listeners to what's going on. So listen, as we start to bring this thing down to a close, don't forget, check us out, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Facebook, SoundCloud, and thank you for your continued support all across the United States as well as international. So ACTSports is going to be, somebody's going to ping us in Japan and somebody's going to hear about us in Australia. So listen, we definitely want to thank again Curtis Jackson for your continued support. Thank you so much. You make it possible for us to do the things that we do. And then we're going to close, as always, with our scripture verse, John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So it's your host, Coach Goins, and like I always say, if you're not working on your game, somebody is, and I'll see you in the gym.